And I think just in general, so especially with B2B, but B2C as well, the whole purpose is to become credible as quickly as possible. So this is what you can certainly be working on from B2C or B2B. So even from a B2C standpoint, you could start looking at who can you partner up with, whether it's charities to help you with this, PR or whatever. But then from a B2B standpoint, how can you get more sales in? Is it you could warm up emails, you could reach out to companies. You don't just have to wait.
Yeah, 100%. I think like people that have taken that approach, like you get a lot of results from going local. I was chatting with a member the other day, and he's doing like a specific product more for like takeaway restaurants, stuff like that. And all this guy's done in the last couple of weeks is just walk up and down different high streets in his area, and he's got about 4 or 5 deals already.
100%.
Like contracts in place, recurring orders. That's what I mean, and that's what we say to people. Like if you're trying to push that type of strategy, the worst case scenario is you walk in somewhere and they're like, oh no, we're not interested.
One thing I did notice, because obviously we're on about what more can you be doing, so obviously content's key, coming up with different imagery, whether you're outsourcing that to get someone to create UGC content or whatever it is, there's always more you can be doing, whether you're playing around with AI to try and get you like different imagery. One thing I did see was a member who done it really well, and I've seen it in a few different cases now, is depending on obviously your product, there's places you can take your product, like kitchen showrooms. You can go into kitchen showrooms, obviously where it's beautiful, looks amazing, the lighting's usually bang because they're trying to sell the kitchen, and you can put your product there and take some pictures. Cool. Reese, how you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, Alex. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Unreal place in Lanzarote we're in right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's just good to get out of the UK weather, I think, somewhere hot. It's good.
100%. So let's get into it. So what you wanted to chat about today is there's always more we can be doing, especially when it comes to e-commerce in general, from both B2B and B2C. But from your standpoint, what we were speaking about earlier was once you got all the ads set up from a B2C point of view, there's so much more you can then proactively do. Yeah.
100% agree. And I think like one of the, I wouldn't say it's an issue, but one of the downfalls from people doing ecom is like once they, like you spend all your time building the business, then you spend obviously all your focus is on the advertising, getting all the content set up. And then once people are running their first batch of ads, it's then like, you're not doing much beyond that. You can't be editing your store, you can't be tweaking your ads, you need to let them run for 10 14 days or more. So I think during that phase of your ads now going live, you've got a lot of time back on your hands. So it's like, how do you stay proactive? Yeah, you can do competitor research, you can look at adding more products and stuff like that, but it's not recommended when you first kickstart a business to get more products on your store, because you're testing what you've got at the moment. So the whole concept of this podcast would be obviously to discuss and hopefully give the viewer a bit of information about what you can be doing if you're at this part in your journey, or if you're currently building your business, everything like that. When you get to this part, what to focus on. And I think from obviously the angle that you take within ecom is B2B.
Yeah.
And if your ads are now live, you can explore B2B options.
100%. And I think just in general, so especially with B2B, but B2C as well, the whole purpose is to become credible as quickly as possible. So this is what you can certainly be working on from B2C or B2B. So even from a B2C standpoint, you could start looking at who can you partner up with, whether it's charities to help you with this, PR or whatever. But then from a B2B standpoint, how can you get more sales in? Is it you could warm up emails, you could reach out to companies. You don't just have to wait. And like you just said there, let the data do its thing, they run the ads, and you don't want to be doing any tweaks like you said. There's so much more you can do. Even from Facebook, you could start going into Facebook groups and start pushing your products from there. There's so much you can do. So what I wanted to sort of start with is, right, what's the first thing I would do and you would do? And that would be, who could you speak to locally, whether it's in your phone book, and it's always a good one, so get your phone out and just like, right, who do I know that I could speak to regarding my business and approach, or locally within a certain period of time, even if you just go on Google Maps and just see, right, who can I actually speak to that's going to be relevant to my product, whether it's a partnership or whether they buy it, or depending on if you're doing drop shipping or private white labeling, if you've got stock, can you give your product to some people, even if it's just on the shelf somewhere, and just say, look, don't worry about it, if it doesn't get sold, we'll just take it back, but get your brand out there from other standpoints. I think it's so many different things you can do, but first thing is definitely wear local.
Yeah, 100%. I think like people that have taken that approach, like you get a lot of results from going local. I was chatting with a member the other day, and he's doing like a specific product more for like takeaway restaurants, stuff like that. And all this guy's done in the last couple of weeks is just walk up and down different high streets in his area, and he's got about 4 or 5 deals already.
100%.
Like contracts in place, recurring orders. That's what I mean, and that's what we say to people. Like if you're trying to push that type of strategy, the worst case scenario is you walk in somewhere and they're like, oh no, we're not interested. Okay, cool. You go to the next place. That's it.
Yeah,
like,
move on.
You're not losing nothing apart from maybe a minute of your time.
Yeah. And it's also just sales training. So getting comfortable being uncomfortable. I love that sort of saying. And what that means is go out your comfort zone. If you're not very good at speaking to people, just go into places and just get used to getting said no to. And if they say yes, you're winning. Yeah. And then if they say no, then all right, so be it. Next one. But the whole purpose of what we're chatting about today is you can be so proactive. You don't just have to just sit down there and wait for the results to happen. You can go out and get more results. And that's definitely one of them is depending on what your product is, but walk up the street, just go chat to an owner of another company, because it might not be relevant for them, but they might say, actually, I know someone else who's it could be relevant for, and here's their contact details, and all of a sudden these doors open.
Yeah, 100%. And like one thing leads to another all the time, and like even if you can't, like depend on the business that you go into, the owner might not be there. Like, being realistic and stuff like that, 10 out of maybe 100 that owners might be there. But if an owner is not there, leave your product, get a business card made, leave your business card with them and say, look, take this product, test it out for free. If you're interested, get back to me. And most of the time your product's probably going to sell. And it's just raising the stakes in that. And like a lot of people generally think like B2B is mainly focused on like a numbers game and stuff like that. In a sense, obviously, like it's anything you do. It's like if you have a product and you put that out, even B2C wise, to 5 people, you probably might not get a sale. And same with B2B, you approach just 5 businesses, you're probably not going to close a deal. But on the flip side, if you get 1,000 people as an example, there's going to be a few purchases there. And I think people get disheartened way too quick.
100%.
Than what they should actually be getting disheartened about. If you... And to be fair, actually, I want to chuck this in there. Like, you look at people like the guy that owns Starbucks. You look at the guy that invented the KFC recipe. How many times were these people turned down? Ridiculous amounts. Did they give up? They kept going. No, like, all the time. And look at that's what I mean. So for people like if you approach someone and they say no, if it's the first ever time you've approached someone, you might be like, oh god, that didn't go too well. You go to a second person. If you approach them and obviously they say no, you're going to be like, am I doing something wrong? You start to question yourself. So I think like keep going, and the more businesses in B2B aspects, the more businesses you approach, each time you're going to get better and better.
100%.
And always review how you're approaching businesses. So like don't just sort of jump into the B2B world and have one strategic approach where like you say the same thing constantly, because it could maybe be down to what you're saying or 100%. You're not selling it right. So always try that. And it's exactly the same going back to B2C as well. Like you wouldn't just throw one ad out there and leave it. You need to test different stuff.
Copies.
That's it.
So bit of advice on that one, and it's one thing I would look out for on B2B. So say for example you're sending 100 emails out, what I look out personally for is the open rate. All right, percentage rate. So if it's over roughly 30% open rate, okay, that's good. The minimum we want is a 30% open rate. All right, and that, just for everyone who's new to this, that is how many people are physically just opening that email. All right, and if it's below that, if it's below 30%, it's usually something to do with the subject heading. Okay, because it's not hooking people in to open that email. Everyone's busy. People just delete emails. That's the issue with emails. Good and bad. They're free, but bad is wrong time, wrong place. So emails open rate 30% or below, 9 times out of 10 it's the subject heading. So keep changing up the subject heading. If it's over 30% and you're not getting replies, then it's usually your call to action within the email body. So depending on what the content is, if it's like, say for example 70 people open the email but no one replied, well, it's clearly an issue with your messaging within that email, because they're not replying. So it's then playing around with that data. So there's always things you can be doing, and emailing is free. Emailing is free. Partnering up with companies, speaking to companies, walking down the road, like you said, is free. So these are all different options that you've just mentioned, I've mentioned, that we're not asking you to spend money on top of the ad spend from a B2C standpoint.
Yeah.
All things you can do for free.
Yeah, it's all free. And like you can just tie it in with what you're doing. Like with the B2C side, you're going to have samples of your product. Hopefully you've taken content of them, you use them for your ads. Now with those samples, like whilst your ads are running and you haven't really got much to do for the next couple of weeks at least, go walk up your high street, go speak to business owners. You haven't got to go into like huge companies, go into family run businesses to start with, go into sort of small brands and stuff like that. But then in the background, and even before you go out in the morning, blast out 100 emails, 150 emails. Like there's no reason. And it annoys me when you get the odd random person that's like, oh, it's not working. It's like you've sent like 5 emails, mate. Like what's going on? Like you need to hold yourself accountable for the success you're not getting or getting. And I think if people just stick at it and trust the process, that's where the results are going to come.
One thing I did notice, because obviously we're on about what more can you be doing, so obviously content's key, coming up with different imagery, whether you're outsourcing that to get someone to create UGC content or whatever it is, there's always more you can be doing, whether you're playing around with AI to try and get you like different imagery. One thing I did see was a member who done it really well, and I've seen it in a few different cases now, is depending on obviously your product, there's places you can take your product, like kitchen showrooms. You can go into kitchen showrooms, obviously where it's beautiful, looks amazing, the lighting's usually bang because they're trying to sell the kitchen, and you can put your product there and take some pictures.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So there's loads of little things like that you can do for free.
Yeah.
That's only going to help with your marketing, whether you're emailing, whether you're sending more organic social media, because we're not going to necessarily talk about it too much now, but there's so much more you can do from a B2C point of view outside your ads anyway. On Facebook groups and all that sort of stuff. But I just like the fact that there's always more you can be doing. If it's more content you need, there's places you can go to. Whether you've got a kitchen product, there's kitchen stores you can go to make it look good. Sofas, if it's a pet product, go into pet places. And
that's it. Even if you walk around IKEA, take one trip around IKEA, you're gonna get so much content.
100%.
They create like different rooms and styles and stuff
100%.
like that. So like if your product's obviously small enough, take your product into IKEA, one trip round, you've probably got about 30 different shots. That's insane. Obviously B&Q, stuff like that, they have the kitchens and bits set up. And I agree with what you're saying. I think like there's always stuff to do, and I think you'll be very naive if you feel like, right, my store's done, my ads are live, let's sit back and wait for the results. Like that is being very naive, and like you'll probably not get results, to be fair, because you like at the very beginning, like you're just waiting for something to happen. It's like whereas you can put the work in, put the effort in,
what are you waiting for?
And make that happen.
Go get it.
Like 100%.
Literally go get it. What are you waiting for? Last, I think what I wanted to personally end on is what another thing you could do is trade shows. Trade shows are amazing. Now, yes, they can be expensive to actually exhibit. All right, they could be 4 or 5k depending on which one it is. You don't have to do that. So when I had my travel company, what I would do with my business partner, it was in the XL London. Every January we'd go there, and it was a travel one, and we would literally just go around and chat to everyone who at the stalls. What's your plans this year? How are you getting on? They'll think we're just customers. Actually, we're trying to work out, right, where's the average? Where is everyone trying to spend their money or trying to push, their messaging or whatever it might be for that year? So you could go with, say, with your product, B2C product, whatever it is, and you can literally just go network with all the other exhibits and stuff like that and find out what their plans. But you can also then give your product out or chat to other people just mingling. There's so much you can be doing.
That's interesting you said that, because like now you've said that, I know when I went to the Asia Expo, you had like there's thousands of different stalls, like everything there set up, but the best contacts I made from that was actually the people just walking around.
100%.
And like you'd think they're just interested, just dress normal, stuff like that, but they'll get chatting with you if they see you talking to like a certain area or something like that. They'll come up, chat with you. You're like, oh, here's my business card. Here, take this as well. Here's a leaflet and stuff like that. So that's what I mean. Like you haven't got it's not hard.
It's the one place that you get key decision makers of. Let's just say the Birmingham NEC or XL London. So one place you get key decision makers in the biggest retailers across the world will come and they'll chat. They're open to chat. They're there to chat to you. So if you can go around and start networking, and this is where you can be getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, just start chatting to me. Hey, how you doing? What are you here? Oh, I'm just here looking for pet products. Okay, cool. Or it might be, oh, we're actually a buyer at this company. Oh, are you? Well, funny enough, this is what I'm doing here, and then you start communicating, swap details, and go from there. So much you can be doing.
Yeah, there's so much. So I think like the main thing to take away from this is don't be naive in the sense of like, now you've got an ecom store and you're marketing and you've got these big time gaps in between of you actually doing anything. Like, oh, we're just going to sit back and wait for results to come to us. So much you can be doing from a B2C perspective, but mainly we've covered the B2B side of things. So make sure you go out there and just make sure you essentially just do what needs to be done.
Go get it.
Go above and beyond. Go get them results.
Just go get it.
Yeah,
just go get it.
Yeah. Well, Alex, thanks for the podcast, man. It's been wicked.
Yeah, and I think finally, I've said it about 400 times now. Go get it. That's all I'm saying.
Go get it.
That's how we're going to finish on this one.
Yeah.
Go get it.
Go get it, guys.